Hello everyone, and a happy new year to you all. I hope that 2023 is going to be a positive and prosperous year for many of you. It can be a bit difficult to know how to sort of start these kind of things off when you've never done them before, so do bear with me in that regard. I'm hopeful that a lot of you may have come over from Instagram, so you should already have an idea of who I am and what I do, but for those that don't, I am one of many who like to take action figure and toy photographs as a hobby. And to close out the last year, I put together a post on my Instagram page where I showed off what were my favourite figures from the past year, figures that I'd bought in 2022. And I decided that instead of doing a post on Instagram where I would detail what I liked about each of my choices, that I would attempt to try and do so through the YouTube format instead. So all for trying new things in the new year, so on and so forth. The two main action figure lines that I collect are Hasbro's Marvel Legends and Star Wars Black Series lines, with the main reason being that these are two franchises that I've kind of grown up with through childhood and have still enjoyed into adult life, and so collecting the figures has just been a way of being able to expand on that love and passion that I have for those. So the figures that you see here and that I'll be going into a wee bit more detail in are all figures from those respective lines. And I'll be covering what I liked about them, what could have been improved on in some of them, why they've ranked where they did, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, I will get started on the list. So I'm kicking off the list in reverse order and opening in number 10 with the Marvel Legends Ravager Thor from the Thor Love and Thunder wave that came out prior to the movie's release last summer. Now this figure would probably rank a bit higher, but not for the fact that it's just generally very basic. There are no swappable hands that come with it. I think they maybe missed a trick by not including a soft goods poncho like he wears at the start of that movie. So the only accessory that comes with it is the Stormbreaker axe, as seen here. But from a look standpoint, it's very good. You could argue that it's the best likeness from Legends for Chris Hemsworth that they've done to date. And there's nothing that intrudes on the figure, so when it comes to posing it, there are effectively no restrictions on what you can do in that regard. So this was the standout pick from that wave for me personally. Next up at number 9 is another MCU legend, and it's the Wong figure from the Multiverse of Madness wave. Again, from a look standpoint, I think they've done a tremendous job of getting the likeness of Benedict Wong, the character actor, on point here. There are 5 different swappable hand options, 2 of which contain the orange hand shields, and another which is an open hand that allows him to hold this sword that he has in his opening scenes in the movie. I really also like how the colours on the robe stand out. There's obviously a little variation in there. The biggest hindrance on the figure is just the design of the robe, that you don't have as many posing options for the lower half because from the way that it intrudes over the legs, you just can't move them. So you can do various standing poses, but sitting down, unless you were to remove the lower half of the robe, is a no-go, unfortunately. But the accessory choices included means you can still do some really cool stuff with the figure. Jumping on over to the first Black Series figure of the list, at number 8, it is the Darth Maul figure as he appeared in the final season of the Clone Wars TV show. This was a figure that I was incredibly excited for when they first announced that it would be coming out, and it hasn't disappointed. I really like how the upper torso in between where the top parts ways and the face have been designed. The colours, the black and red, just hit the spot perfectly. The only minor gripe I have with the figure, and I think it may just apply to mines, is that the cybernetic legs can be a little bit difficult to position for the more dynamic poses that I'm trying to do with the figure, but it's minor in the grand scheme of things. It still really looks the part. Accessory-wise, he just comes with the double-bladed lightsaber, as you see, but you are able to split the saber in 2 so that he can take 1 in each hand, and that gives you something a little bit different from a weapon standpoint and for posing too, so that's a bonus. Back onto Legends at number 7, and it's the Moon Knight figure from the show of the same name on Disney+. And I have to say, this is a figure that I was looking forward to based solely off of how it had been designed for the show. So before it had even been released and the figure had even been announced that it was coming, it was one that I was really, really excited for. And I'm generally very happy with the final product that's been released. Now, had it been included with a soft goods cape, there's a chance it would have ranked higher on the list, but you know what you're getting with Marvel Legends figures, so it's no big deal. The grey and gold colours mesh really nicely together, and if you look closely enough, you can see that there is a little bit of an illumination colour theming effect on the eyes, as was shown in the show. Accessories, you've got the two golden crescent moon weapons that can be put in the open hands, and you've also got swappable closed fist hands as well for throwing punches, so you do get a little bit of variety when it comes to deciding what you want to do with the figure. Back in black series for number 6, and I've gone with the Grand Inquisitor figure from the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus show. I know some people were a bit miffed about how the character was looking for the live show when it didn't seem to translate to how he appeared in the Rebels animated show many years ago. But from the action figure standpoint, I think they've done a tremendous job of getting him to look like he does in that show. He comes with the spinning red lightsaber, which can also be clipped to his back, and the soft cape can also be removed completely if you're wanting to do some poses that don't require the cape to be in place. There's a little bit of restricted arm movement because of where the large shoulder pads are placed, but it's nothing too significant, and you can generally work around it because of where the elbow joints are placed for flexibility. I have to say I was really impressed with all of the Inquisitor figures that came out from the Black Series this year. I do have the third sister and the fifth brother as well, but I would say that out of the three, the Grand Inquisitor is definitely the pick of the bunch for me. So crossing the halfway mark, and at number 5 is my penultimate Black Series figure from the list, and that is the Boba Fett Tython figure. Now, I picked up 3 different Boba Fett figures this year, and I did make a sort of personal choice to try and not include all of them and just pick one for the list. And so the one I've gone for is perhaps the more unconventional one, the one that comes without the trademark armour. So it's his appearance from the second season of The Mandalorian when he makes his comeback to confront Din Djarin. And I was just truly blown away by how well they managed to get the resemblance from that appearance into figure form. You can somewhat mould the soft hood to make it seem like he's wearing it loose, or you can tighten it in, so there's options there. And it doesn't actually hinder too much the ability to put the figure into dynamic poses whilst you've still got the cloak on, although the cloak of course can be removed if you so wish. Accessories wise, you've got the Tusken Gaffy Stick and the Cycler Rifle. I know that some figures also came with a little pistol because he's got the holster underneath the cloak. Mine didn't, but no big deal. But I've had a lot of fun taking pictures of this figure throughout this last year, so yeah, it's definitely worthy of inclusion on this list for me. At number 4, I've gone with the classic Loki figure from the Loki Disney Plus show, and this actually was a really late addition to the list. This is one of the last figure orders I got before the year came to an end, but immediately from unpackaging the thing, it just blew me away as to how damn good it looked. The green and yellow colouring used are insane. They stand out so nicely. They are so vibrant, and it brings the thing to life for me. It's the only figure on my list that comes with a swappable head, so you've got a smiling look and you've got a bit more of a sterner look, so different choices there. There's swappable hands, just the basic yellow gloves, but also yellow gloves that have got the green magic effects flowing around them as well. And they also included some additional green magic effects which you can wrap around his arm, so you can make it seem like spells are travelling up and out as well, which is really, really cool. Had this figure been released earlier in the year, there's a chance it would have been much higher, but I didn't think it was fair to take away from figures I've had a bit longer that I've had a chance to enjoy more and appreciate, but this is still something I was so glad to get a hold of. So entering now into the top 3, and this is where, for me, things got very tricky, because I think that any of the final 3 choices are worthy of being number 1, and in a way they are, but for the sake of trying to keep rankings in proper order, I've done things properly. So at 3rd place is the Marvel Legends She-Hulk figure from the Disney Plus show of the same name, and a part of the Ultron Bath Wave. This for me is probably the best designed MCU Legends figure of 2022. They've got everything to an absolute T. Scaling is on point, the detailing in the face is tremendous, and the right joint choices have been made because you can put the figure into all sorts of cool, wacky poses. You've got swappable hand choice as well, so you've got closed fists for throwing punches, and you've got open hands for mimicking the thunderclap that she does. This is such a cool addition to the line for me, and I think, yeah, definitely worth investing in if you're keen on your MCU styled Legends figures. They actually kept it under wraps for so long. It took them a long time to finally reveal the last figure of the Ultron Bathwave, but yeah, it was well worth the wait in my opinion. So in second place, but the top Black Series pick from the list, is Fennec Shand from the Book of Boba Fett line. And for me, this is the Black Series figure that has the best likeness of a human character in a Star Wars product that was released this year. They've got Ming-Na Wen's face down to an absolute T. That for me is what the benchmark should be for figures in that price range, how they should be designed going forward. Like, use that as your sort of model for making the right design choices. It's somewhat ironic as she comes with two accessories. One is the long range blaster sniper rifle, but also she's got her trademark orange and black helmet. But because the face is designed so nicely, I often don't want to do any shots with the helmet on, because it takes away from the awesome work that they've done on the top. But you can still put her into some really awesome poses to mimic her marksman persona that she has on the shows that we've seen her in. I'm just stoked that I was able to pick this up when I did, because it for me is, like I said, benchmarking a way of what figures in that range should be. So here's hoping that into the next year and beyond that this will be something that we hopefully get more of, fingers crossed. And in the number one spot, I have gone with the Marvel Legends Amazing Fantasy 15 Spider-Man figure. Now, this actually ended up being the first figure I picked up that was exclusively in cardboard packaging, because in the last year Hasbro made the somewhat controversial choice to eliminate plastic from their 6-inch figure packaging. But for a first time of opening a figure without being able to see it through a plastic window, I absolutely hit the jackpot in this regard. I might not have that same amount of luck again in future, but this is the figure this year that brought back those nostalgic childhood memories of opening up your Spider-Man comics and watching the stories unravel before your eyes. To have that now in the form of this figure is just incredible for me. The red and navy colour schemes have been applied brilliantly, and there's more accessories of this figure than you can shake a stick at. There's 8 different hands, 4 different little web features, and then there's the swinging web too, which has been reused many times, but it does help make a Spider-Man figure, no question about that. We're certainly not spoilt for choice on the Spider-Man figure front. Like, they're coming out left, right and centre all at the time, but this for me, for your classic Spidey fan, is an absolute must-have. You can do so much with it, and that for me is why it takes the top spot ahead of the other choices that are in this list. And there you have my top 10 figures in 2022. Now, if any of you who are watching have any of these figures yourselves, then I'd be keen to hear in the comment section of the video as to what your thoughts on them are, like what you like and dislike, as even though I've listed some minor faults and issues with these figures, these are still 10 figures that I absolutely love to bits. No question about that. But I would absolutely be keen to sort of get a general sort of consensus to what others think from those who have them too. But that's going to probably do it for this video. So I'll begin my close by saying thank you for watching. I'd like to think that I'll be back with more different videos in the future, but we'll just see how things go. This is all, as I think I mentioned at the start, a very new concept to me. I'm very much a tech novice with lots of learning to do, but if it's a way to expand on the hobby and find more people in the community with a love and passion for toys and action figures, then I'm all for sticking around and attempting to do much more, but we'll see how things go. Likes and feedback in the comment section are much appreciated if you think there are methods I can improve on or other aspects of the hobby that you'd like me to look into. I will also leave a link to my social pages in the description section. As whilst I'm probably most active on Instagram, I do also have other pages that I'm hoping to start working on in this year as well, so I'll leave those there for anyone who wants to follow what else I'm doing. But for now, I'll say thanks once again for watching, take care, and hopefully speak to you all again soon.